If we want to take a look at how a content type is structured and adjust its properties, which is what we're about to do to remove that published by content underneath the title of our contact form, you would need to go to Structure, and once you click on that, you have a list of options, and down here is one called Content Types. Go ahead and click on that. And here we have a list of the 3 content types I mentioned before: article, basic page, and web form. And next to these, there's an edit link. Let's go ahead and click on the edit link next to web form. Okay, this has some data about the content type. We have the name, the description of the content type, which displays on the add content form. And then we have some additional settings here. Let's go ahead and scroll down so we can see them all. Okay, under submission form settings, we have some settings for the add form for this type of content. For example, instead of adding a title, we could set this to be some other name. For example, as we create the guide content type, we'll set this title to name instead of title. Preview before submitting allows us to require a preview by the editor before they actually submit the content. And then we can add some help text to that form above the form itself in order to help guide the user through the process. Okay, let's go ahead and look at publishing options. We have some default options here, and now that you've seen the add form for a piece of content, a lot of these are going to look familiar. We can set the default state for the published checkbox. In this case, we want it to default to published. The default state for promoted to front page, you can see that it defaults to checked here. We can check sticky at top of lists and force a creation of a new revision whenever the content is updated. Let's look at display settings. Okay, this is what we came here for. It says display author and date information. And if we uncheck this, then that published by line underneath the title of our contact form will disappear. So let's go ahead and uncheck this. And just for thoroughness, let's take a look at menu settings as well. As we scroll down, we see that there's a list here of available menus. Now remember that when we created a piece of content, we had the ability to add that piece of content as a menu item, but as we added content, the only menu that we had a choice to add it to was the main menu. But when we had to move a menu item from one menu to another, we could do so through the menu settings pages, which allowed us to freely add a piece of content to any menu. So this allows us to choose which menus this piece of content can be added to. And by default, it's set to main menu only. And then we can set the default parent item if there's multiple menus selected. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our contact form after we save this. I'm going to go ahead and click on Save Content Type. And then I'm going to jump back to the home page and then click on Contact here. Okay, now when we look at our content, we see we have the title and then we have the description, but we don't have any of that published by information. So our disabling of the authored by information worked.